Welcome back to episode 87 of the Disorganized Wizards Club podcast. My name is Alex. I'm here as always with Adam.
Hello.
And Cam.
Good evening.
And we're a group of Ottawa-based players that play just about anything and everything we can qualify for. We talk about decks, tournament stories, just about anything to help you and ourselves get better at Magic.
Oh, yeah. Good evening. It threw me off there.
Yeah.
Didn't get me this time, though.
Yeah.
Nice try.
It's almost like the plan
It's going to
lately
become
is
a
like,
weekly thing.
I didn't expect to throw you off. I knew you were going to be on game.
It's like, can we mess with Stelly on this one?
I wasn't trying to mess with anybody. It's evening, and I'm greeting the listeners.
We the DWC After Dark. This is a once in a blood moon, as you. Well, this is a once in a blood moon thing that like the DWC has a late recording session. Usually it's after Magic. Usually what happens is we go play a format and then we come back and just like fire off the hot takes about how miserable we are because none of us did well, which is usually Modern.
Yeah,
but that's not what happened. We were just busy during the day.
Yeah, working, and I got to leave early tomorrow morning for my brother's wedding back home. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah, can't record tomorrow, so we're doing it today.
We've been lucky to get in recording sessions given the last couple weeks of life. Because last week was like insanity. I cannot believe we recorded an episode.
yeah. I mean, my life's been pretty chill.
Well,
but
you just cold chilling.
you two have been.
All I do is work.
Yeah, I was like trying to get work done, and my family was here staying at my house, like kicked me out of my own bedroom, basically. So that was
you had your convocation last week, eh?
on Friday. So my
Officially a doctor.
Yeah. Maybe I can find a job now.
A doctor of English.
Yeah, an unemployed doctor. Doctor of philosophy.
Doctor of philosophy.
Please. Currently unemployed, obviously. Friday was a rager. Shout outs to all the local wizards who came out and my neighbors for not calling the police.
Yeah,
That was
good barbecue.
It was a nice, pleasant evening.
Yeah, just
Lots of wholesome, great folk.
It was just responsible socializing.
Yep.
In our heads, that is what Cam and I thought until Alex got there. And it was like, oh my God, because he got off work late, got there at 10 p.m. and he walks in, he's like, oh my God, like how long have you guys been drinking for? And Cam's like, I don't know, like 6 o'clock. Like, but he thought he answered it like, I don't know, it's only about 6 o'clock. But like he just slobbered out and he's like, no way. Because he's like, I thought you guys been drinking since noon.
Everyone
I got
there.
hugged by like 4 people upon arrival. You gave me a huge bear hug.
I was in a good mood.
Everyone was so happy to see me.
Yeah. Like, and the thing is, like, Cam described as like everyone with abandon too was just deep in the tank.
I think it's summed up by one of the guests was had a little bit more to drink than the other guests,
Which is impressive.
Kind of had stumbled a bit sort of into a crowd and then righted himself and then said, "I'm standing up, right?" Kind of like
question mark
like proud of himself that he was standing upright but not sure. And the unintentional pun makes that great.
Yeah. It was a fun time. Yeah. I had a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And then the next day it was kind of cool.
Next day we paid.
Yeah, we paid a serious price, but it was like to keep this on track and not just like a podcast about our degenerate behaviors. Like this actually has a point. Was the next day everyone was just sort of like crashed at my house. Like my mom and my aunt were there. Like, but I gave up my bedroom and everything and other stuff. But like, little Benny was there and he was passed out on a love seat and like I was sleeping on a couch. Like LP is sleeping on a couch. Like all these people were just scattered throughout our house. And like I get up in the morning and like Cam's heading out to play. So the week that is going to be packed. Like somehow after this day, like Ron went and played Modern and Cam went to play Modern.
It's because a bunch of people convinced us when we were in a susceptible state that Modern would be fun. And we believed them.
And like, so like basically everyone at this party also like went to play Modern or played Moto in the Magic Online PTQ.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of, there's a lot to talk about actually because there was a lot of events on the weekend. It's been a busy.
Yeah, GP Vegas. Magic 25th
Mike went.
Anniversary. Oh yeah, Mike did go.
Yeah. I don't know how he did, but.
Yeah. Well, double GP weekend, got limited and Modern.
Because he's just like playing more Magic lately again after taking a lot of time off.
Yep.
Tons of going on.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about 3 formats today.
Yeah, it's a 3-format episode.
Lots of stuff to talk about.
All right.
Oh, baby, a triple.
What's in pack 1?
We'll jump right in.
This is the draft episode.
Well, since we were kind of briefly touched on how you guys went and played Modern on Saturday, we'll talk about Modern first.
All right.
Won by Matt Nass
Shocker.
on KCI again. for the second GP in a row.
So yeah, he's won another one. And before that, he also top 8'd the other modern GP.
Did he lose in the finals of that one?
I believe so. No, it's the semis or the finals, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean...
I love our show notes, by the way, just on the screen for our show notes. It just says, is KCI busted? First question. And all of us were, nah. You know, like Alex was like, maybe. I was like, nah, no one. And then Cam's follow-up question is the best. Is Matt Naz busted? Which I think there might be a yes to this. Like,
I mean,
do you think the deck is like that good, or is
I'm starting to see more and more people talk about it on Twitter, saying that this deck there's something too good about this deck. And I mean, and Modern is one of those formats where you don't see the same deck win massive tournaments like this twice in a row. You don't generally see
that is true,
and you don't generally see like the same archetype do so well across multiple tournaments like this. Like 3 very good finishes in a row.
And they're also in pretty different metagames.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like we were joking about the question thing, but I think you have a really good point.
Like there has to be something here, otherwise we wouldn't be seeing this, because
you can't have this level of consistency in Modern.
Yeah. Like as great as a player Matt Nass is, Modern is a format where you don't see this kind of consistency unless you're playing something like Blue-White Eldrazi during an Eldrazi winter.
Right, like so this deck's going to get banned.
I don't know if it's going to get banned, but you know, there is something inherently powerful here, and maybe it's just people are skimping on the hate because they don't think it's as good as it is.
Right, or they don't. I bet part of it as well, like taking a more serious answer to the question about it, that the 2 questions we raised, like the first one, you know, is KCI busted, is that I think part of it is because I played the deck online, Ron played it online for a while, is I was probably playing it poorly. But Matt Nass basically only plays combo decks. You know, whether they're good or bad, he plays a ton of combo. Mm-hmm. And he probably just understands how to play the deck well. And so because it's new, people who are trying it out aren't playing it optimally. Yeah. So it's a matter of time before, you know, someone publishes the like, here's how you play a KCI. And then it just, you know, ravages the format kind of thing, right? So I could see that being the case right now. And that's why you don't see it completely taking over. And plus, like, Modern's super slow to transition, right?
Yeah, I just don't think people are respecting it enough. I mean, because it's very hateable. It's very easy to hate this deck out. Like, it can't function without its graveyard.
Yes.
I mean, there's so much ways to deal with graveyards in Modern.
Yes.
Does it get stopped by Stony Silence, or are all the activated abilities mana abilities? Does Stony Silence stop mana abilities?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it stops everything of artifacts.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't activate artifacts at all.
Okay, that'll do it.
That card's pretty good against them.
Damping Sphere.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can definitely hate this deck out, no problem.
Yeah.
So, it probably won't get banned either, right? Like, I don't...
Yeah, I honestly just don't think people respected it enough, and it's not as huge, like, it's not a big player in the metagame. It's not, you know, when we talk about Modern as a format, it's not a deck you would consider tier 1, right? You know, you think about tier 1 decks in Modern, you're thinking about humans. I guess you're thinking about Jeskai Control now because that deck's been super consistent.
Mardu Pyromancer, I think, is tier 1.
Mardu Pyromancer, like...
As much as people hate on it, Jund is got to be a tier 1 deck, like...
But you don't generally think Crackland Ironworks is a tier 1 Modern deck. You'd probably put it more down like tier 3, I would say.
Yeah. Tier 2 most? Like, if you play it a lot and you think it's very good.
Yeah, but it's not generally a strategy on people's minds. Mm-hmm. And I really just don't think people respected it. And he's just been cleaning up because no one is sideboarding enough hate for this deck. And it needs to be in the consideration if you're going to be playing in a big tournament like this now.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, like, for something to be bannable in Modern, it has to just be, like, comically good. Like, just so, like, and this deck, and almost, like, unhateable. Like, it has to be so good and consistent to be banned that this isn't really a risk because, you know, humans can just game 1 meddling, mage the right things. Like, people can beat this deck. It's just that it's a really good deck. Yeah. And people probably, it's exactly what you said. I think you're actually just exactly right. Like, people don't have enough sideboard hate for it. They don't really expect it, and they don't probably also know how to play against it very well.
I don't know if you watched the event at all, but there was a humans player playing against Matt in this tournament, and he cast 4 meddling mage, and he named 3 right cards, and the last one he named the wrong card, and then got completely destroyed by an engineered explosives.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And then lost after casting 4 meddling mage.
Yikes! So he just named the wrong thing.
Yeah. But
now you know.
the deck is super resilient and
agree.
can fight through the hate. You have to be clocking it
Yes.
because it does like it's one of the few combo decks that is very able to fight through very targeted hate for it.
Yeah, and it's fast.
Yeah.
You know, like
Well, it's a turn 4 deck, right?
yeah. I mean, that's fast. Like Ad Naus has 1 GPs in tournaments, and that's a turn 5 deck.
Yeah.
Like Ad Naus can kill you on turn 4, but it has to have the nut opener. Like it has to have the perfect 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they might be able to do it on 3. No, because Lotus Bloom will never come in on turn 3. So
Is it suspend 3?
yes,
Yeah,
So it's
okay.
a turn 4 with its best draws because it also needs to have everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But it's usually a turn 5 deck.
Yeah.
So a lot of the good combo decks are turn 5 decks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And this is a turn 4 like fairly consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, deck's scary, but I don't think it's
People. I think people jump on the whole "let's ban this card" bandwagon way too early.
Oh yeah, we'll
in
get to that.
every format.
Yeah. We can't cheat though and let people know what cards are in pack 3 of this format draft.
I just don't understand how KCI is playable. It's got an X1 in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you.
Afterwards, do we vote on which format we think was the
most like ruined at the moment.
I was gonna say the best and like most enjoyable. We
can do that too.
So cynical. The format's ruined.
I don't know. I don't think Modern's in a bad place right now. I think KCI's fine.
When's the last time you played Modern?
I think Modern. Okay,
because that's the ticket to Stelly's assessment of Modern. It's like a Venn diagram, but it moves apart. You know what I'm saying? it's just like they go further apart, the circles, and like it's Modern's healthy is like Stelly hasn't played Modern in like X amount of time and like overlapping in the middle. Like, sorry, yeah. Well, how was your Modern experience? You played this weekend.
Yeah, it was okay. So as I was gonna say, I think Modern in general is as enjoyable as Modern can be. Like it's in a good spot considering it's Modern, and that's how my tournament was. It was a good tournament, but I played Modern.
It's Modern. What did you play?
I played Red Green Eldrazi.
Nice.
And this was a while ago. I don't really remember most of my details, but I do remember like what stuck out to me. The fact that it was good, but I played Modern was that I made top 8 and then lost to Boggles.
Have you ever considered sleeving up our Lord and Savior Karn Liberated?
I haven't. No.
Well, let me tell you, if you ever plan on playing Modern anytime soon,
Yeah,
I got some cards that you can borrow.
I mean, 2 copies in Vegas top 8. But you didn't see that coming.
No, definitely didn't see that coming. In a tournament that big?
No, yeah, you did. On the podcast when like 3 weeks ago, when the last time we like had a pretty good conversation about Modern, you were like, man, look at all these dumb Jeskai decks like playing Teferi and stuff. You're like, I can't wait to Karn these guys. Like, yeah, you actually like went off about it. You were like,
turns out I'm a genius, guys.
yeah,
What else is new?
But I mean, to be fair, to your credit, it's not that you're always just like, just play Tron. Like, there are times where you're like, ugh, Tron's so bad right now. Like, you can't play it. But actually, when we were talking about Teferi Modern and all these Jeskai decks, and like all these other grindy, like John, Mardu Pyromancer, you said, you were like, this is just waiting to get Karned. Like, all these people are just sitting here waiting for like Karn to come up and like stab him in the back.
And I mean, like, if you think back to a few minutes ago when we kind of just briefly listed off like 4 tier 1 decks off the top of our head, we could be wrong, but we listed Humans, Jeskai, Jund, and what was the last one?
Mardu Pyromancer. Never beating John.
Three out of those 4 decks have just abysmal Tron matchups.
Mardu Pyromancer has like horrible, like they all do.
Well, I'd say Humans is the one
Humans,
that's the best
Humans
matchup.
is the best matchup. Yeah, definitely. I'm sure there's other tier 1 decks.
Yeah, for sure. But like, listing the top like 4 off the top of your head, those are kind of what you think of. You're like, well, I mean, Tron beats up on 75% of these.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised to see 2 copies of Tron in the top 8 of Vegas.
But you know what Tron is terrible against? KCI, most likely.
You would just have to draw multiple Karns, I assume, and just go for their lands.
Yeah.
Like, you would just have to Stone Rain them out.
Yeah.
I assume?
Mm-hmm. But, like, it's tough. Like, I haven't played the matchup at all, so I don't actually know. But from the limited matchup, like, I've seen Matt Ness play against Tron in his top 8s from the past few GPs, and he always just stomps it.
Yeah,
so, like,
it seems hard for
maybe
him.
maybe it's not good. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I assume it's a tough matchup, though. I wouldn't be surprised. How is Red Green Eldrazi? How do you like that? You've been playing that deck like here and there, right?
I've been playing it here and there because it's so the last few Modern events I've gone to, our friend Curtis just like shows up with a bunch, like opens his trench coat and there's a bunch of modern decks and like lends them out.
Like a shady back room.
So there's like 3 or 4 people who like normally don't play modern who showed up because he like had decks for them, and that's the one that I've just been playing and keep borrowing. I don't know. The deck's fine. Like it's straightforward. You just play creatures ahead of curve and attack. There's not that much like thinking behind it.
It's medium. This is a typical modern.
It's good,
player.
but medium to play.
You know, the first hit's free. You know, lend you this deck. And you can get in on the format. This is what the advocates do to you.
Yeah, man.
Just to keep their unhealthy addiction.
He didn't even lend me a full deck. There was 4 empty sleeves in the sideboard.
Oh yeah, you got to tell this story.
And I was like, well, like what am I missing? And he's like, well, I don't know, like, maybe like a pyroclasm or 2 would be good, and like something else like trackers. I'm like, well, no one has trackers to lend, and I'm not going to borrow any. So I just bought 4 pyroclasm and put 4 in the sideboard, and then played against elves.
Yeah, it's like so obnoxious when he told me that. I was like, wow.
Got him.
And there was
that's a classic. You did play modern.
Yeah. Like the elves player like had a good company and like had 2 lords. His board was all 3/3s, and I drew, and it's like, oh, that's pretty good. Like pyroclasm you, and he like goes to scoop up his cards, and he's like, wait, no, like they're 3/3s. I'm like, yeah, second pyroclasm, like hit you with both smashers I have in play because they're 5/5s.
So obnoxious, man. Yeah. So you really did play modern. You just like drew the right sideboard or randomly had a good sideboard.
That's all it was,
Yeah.
That deck does seem pretty good though, actually, because you just play like dumb way ahead of the, like you said, like
you're just efficient, good against removal, really. Like you have Thoughtseize effects in your deck with Thought-Knot Seer. Like it can do everything you need to do in modern.
Yeah, Smasher's great.
Yeah.
Smasher rules.
It has ways out of some of its hate. Like you have Mind Stones in case you get Blood Moon, but like you still get Blood Moon pretty badly.
Yeah. That card, Blood Moon is just,
Blood Moon is Blood Moon.
Yep.
Fun and interactive Magic card.
So I had a thought about GP Vegas. How many people were in this GP, the modern event? Because normally they're huge, right?
A couple thousand.
They're like twice the size of normal.
Maybe 3,000. Like it depends. I know one of the limited ones last time was like 4,500. Like because it was the Modern Masters one. It was like 5,000 players. It was just insane.
Because I know GP Vegas kind of like it has this reputation of being like the GP of the year. Like it's the big one. People fly from all over the world that would attend this GP. And so
just under 2,800 players played in the modern event.
As much as like modern, you could say like, well, this GP reflects this modern meta. I have a feeling that like GP Vegas just reflects all of modern. Enough people are going to show up that normally wouldn't, that they're going to play the decks they like, that anything that does well here is just good in modern against kind of everything generally. Like there's a lot less of people trying to attack a specific metagame here because so many people are showing up. So like Tron is just powerful against everything people are doing in modern right now. I think is how you can like take some of these results.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. Man, so with pretty much 2,800 players in this event, that meant how many X2s missed top 8?
Ooh, they have the points there.
Yeah, so X2
not that many.
X2's 39.
Up to 14.
14th place.
Yeah.
That's fine. Because they still get the PT invites.
Yeah. Oh, man, John Stern in 15th.
Oh, yeah, rip, 37.
Man. Well.
Yeah, I imagine this GP was stacked. Like, it had everything. Like, because it's like a convention, right? Like, GP Vegas just isn't like double GP weekend anymore like the first one was, right? Now it's like there's that crazy beta draft that they streamed. Like,
well, it was a whole celebration because it's Magic's 25th anniversary, right? So, they threw on a huge show.
I think SCG Con looked cooler still, though.
Did it?
I don't know.
No Banless Modern. That's something I can get into.
That was a hilarious looking tournament.
So let me cast
Vintage tournament looked sweet, but I bet they had all that at Vegas. Like so.
Yeah. I like the idea of like big sort of convention weekends with like oddball side events that get covered like in between rounds. Like
that beta draft was super cool to watch.
Yeah, it was a Rochester draft too, which was cool to watch. Like.
Yeah.
Man, that's
watching
what they
7 lands get opened in one pack, though. That was hype.
The most ridiculous is that Ben Stark got both the Mox Emerald and the Underground Sea.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, $12,000 in 2 picks that he basically picked up in US. Like,
rare drafter.
Not bad. Not bad.
I mean, it's just outrageous that he got both. Like,
yeah, it's pretty.
It was both on his picks, but
yeah. And then there was the Time Walk was the other, the power that was opened, right?
Yes.
Yep. There wasn't anything else.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
No, there was also a Scrubland.
Yeah.
Which is worth also a fortune.
And
and a Wheel of Time.
There's a Scrubland and a Plateau.
And a Wheel of Fortune.
Oh yeah, there was a like super rare art plateau.
Yeah.
That they told the
no,
story
there was
of.
like a bunch
Yeah.
like that were open that are just crazy money, like crazy money. I don't know what the entry for that draft was though. I imagine.
Well, you had to win a qualifier.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. I don't know how much the qualifiers cost, but you had to like finish first in the qualifier, and they ran 8 qualifiers across the whole weekend.
Oh, and LSV got in.
Yeah.
And Ben Stark.
Yeah, all those
and
guys.
Like Martin Yuza.
1 qualifiers to get in.
That's funny.
Martin Hughes top 8 of the modern GP too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a good weekend.
That guy had a crazy weekend.
Yeah.
That guy wins a lot.
He's a good Magic player. Hall of Fame, you could say.
I mean,
yeah.
he just travels, just constantly wins. He's a good player. Okay, so I've never done a Rochester draft,
Neither
obviously.
have I.
But they looked fun as hell.
It
'cause
did
you
look
get to see
fun.
what
Yeah,
people
they're
are
interesting.
taking. We should I wish like we were all going to nationals, because then it would be fun to do a Rochester draft there. We should
Get some white gloves.
Yeah. No, blue. They're blue, like surgical gloves.
No, they were like white cotton gloves.
Yeah, they gave them white gloves.
Oh, for the players to wear. But
Yeah.
the judge was wearing like
Oh
the
yeah.
plastic
yeah,
ones.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. But next GP we go to on like day 2 or something after we're done winning in top 8, we should organize a Rochester draft.
I feel like that's too much information to keep track of. I can't think of all that at once.
Yeah, be fun.
Yeah, it would
You
be.
don't want to have to think about what
They seem
everyone else
sweet.
is doing.
Like that seemed like a lot of fun. I haven't played limited in a long time until this weekend, so now like I just want to draft and stuff again. So
You're
much fun.
advocating us doing a casual draft on our own free time.
I think Rochester is really
What's
cool. I
wrong with
think
you?
the reason weren't they saying that the reason Rochester draft was eliminated is just the time takes
takes
way
a
too
long
much time.
time,
But
yeah.
people think there's actually a little more like play to it, and it's actually like quite interesting. Like
Yeah, I'm just making fun of you. It did look really fun.
Yeah.
Plus, you get to chirp people for picking wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just like you can also, so like one of my friends, I hate playing Risk, and obviously you're just there to like drink beers and whatever when you're playing Risk. But he used to just like basically pick on one of our friends and just only attack him until it ruined the game for both of them. And like the Rochester draft is something you could definitely also do that. And you just take someone's color over and over again when you know you have no good picks, and you just like sabotage them. So I think it's like pretty humorous as a troll draft as well. So you know, there's a lot of strategy involved in how you choose to play the draft. So,
Yeah, everyone's decks would probably end up being a lot worse too than normal, which would be hilarious.
yeah, it's always a good time.
Yeah, sounds like fun. So to wrap up modern here, what are we thinking? If you had to play a modern GP this weekend, what are you doing? What are you packing in your sideboard? You're like, I have to play modern. This
No, it's
weekend."
just like so hard, man. Like when you think like I used to like answer these questions and I would think I had like a reasonable answer. Like, oh, I'd play this deck because I think it's like well positioned in the metagame. Like, I just don't know like that you can predict that. I think I would just play a deck that was a style I was comfortable playing with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would play Mardu Pyromancer
Yeah,
because I'm good at mid-range decks, because I think Blood Moon is just going to be powerful in Modern, and I just want to play for Collective Brutality because I've been advocating it, and I think that card's still very good. So
I would probably also play Mardu Pyromancer and just get my teeth kicked in by Tron, but otherwise have pretty good matchups across the board.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't know how that deck's KCI matchup is.
It's probably okay. Like you have good disruption, good sideboard for them, but you need to draw pressure, and that will, I think, be the determining factor. And how your games turn out. I could be wrong because I haven't played the matchup. But yeah, it feels like you can disrupt them, no problem, but they'll top deck their way out of it if you don't kill them very quickly. And Mardu Pyromancer isn't a deck that necessarily kills very quickly, right?
Yeah.
So it feels like that's going to be the issue. But if you're really worried, you can tune your sideboard a little more for it and just say, look, I'm going to lose Tron unless I draw a Blood Moon on time and have disruption and get lucky in my match against them and not even bother with sideboard cards for it. Like I just don't think you bother.
I
Right?
play Death Shadow too, since like a Death Shadow list did well, and that's a deck that can disrupt and pressure quicker than Mardu, and it's on a similar like mid-rangey plan.
Yeah. And he was playing, Death Shadow actually is a deck that has to be good versus KCI. Like, I can see you get unlucky or whatever, but I mean, this version is playing Teamer Battle Rage and Stubborn Denial. Like,
Yeah,
so that's, a clock and disruption.
yeah, you just stubborn denial their actual KCI.
Man, playing
and attack them.
Ceremonious Rejection and a Braid in the sideboard and Cola Guns Command, this guy's prepared.
Yeah, it's Ben Friedman. Like, good
he
player.
respected KCI this weekend.
Yeah, I mean those cards are very good in a lot of matchups. If they run out, one of the cool things about like just bring in a Braid and calling its command, if they run out an early engineered explosives, you can just pop it before playing your Death Shadows. Like, if they're doing it for mana efficiencies, like I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty. I think Grixis Shadow. Like, I think it's funny we didn't mention this card or this deck was in the top 8. But it seemed like so many people were like, "Oh, that deck's not good anymore. That deck's not great."
We haven't seen it do well in a very long time.
But I think that deck is. I feel like people just, for a while it was like busted. This is the cycle of modern decks. They're just busted. They're like the best thing ever, right? Like KCI needs to be banned, and then it stabilizes. The format stabilizes, and then it's just one of 25 tier 1 decks. Like the format stabilizes, and then like look at humans. Now humans is just like, it's a really good deck.
Yeah.
But there's no like, it's just added it. Everybody get in the, get on the bus. Like all these decks are good. Like it's a very inclusive space.
Yeah. I'm not going to add much to this conversation because I'm just going to say I'd play Tron.
Yeah, obviously.
Which color of Tron?
Mono green.
Okay.
I don't think you waste your time with any other colors. Green's all you need.
Unlike standard,
like
where you're not allowed to play green.
We'll get there. It's pack 3.
Jumping ahead.
All right. Moving on to pack 2. We also had a limited GP in Vegas this past weekend. This format's awesome. Dominaria is sweet.
It's fun, yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like I played in with Matt and Ben this weekend. We played in Moto online PTQ, top 8'd. Draft deck was awesome. And I posted a picture in Beep Beep, I'm sure you saw it in our group chat, where I said, this deck is busted. My top 8 draft deck for the PTQ on Moto is busted out of control.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to lose immediately. And I messaged like 10 minutes later. Yeah, both games, and we got stuck on 2 lands and never played anything and died. Like, both games.
Yeah.
But the format was great. The sealed format was super fun. So almost every single opponent took the draw, except for one across 9 rounds or whatever.
Really?
And we stomped all of them. The only person who didn't won that match, but we went 8-1 otherwise or whatever.
Yeah.
Stomped every person who took the draw. I physically don't understand what people are thinking. And it's because Ben Stark went on this huge rant and was adamant, like, no, this format's slower. Like, you have to take the draw. Just insanity. And it's all just like lost on the spot.
Definitely slower than Ixalan. And I could see you maybe overreacting a bit too. Because Ixalan and Rivals of Ixalan was so incredibly quick and almost degenerate for a limited format.
Yeah, real snowbally.
That I can see like a normal limited format seeming slow and dry to you. But like, it's not Hour of Devastation. There's not even one Wrath in this format. Is there? There's Urza's Ruinous Blast.
Yeah.
Okay, so... Yeah, well, there's Phyrexian Scriptures.
Okay.
Which we dumped our hand, and I was like, uh-oh, because our opponent played Phyrexian Scriptures. I was like, we're dead. And then we top decked Invoke the Divine and killed it before it could wrath us.
Right on.
Yeah, it was nuts. We were just yelling. So that was pretty sweet. But yeah, Phyrexian Scriptures is the wrath. But other than that...
yeah, like Ruinous Blast... It's not.
I mean,
it's a wrath in quotations.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you can definitely play around it, and you can make sure it doesn't get you too bad. Hopefully,
yeah. I mean, if you're just playing good legends in your deck, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, but like Paulo, like PV had an article like 7-8 months ago that was like, you should never ever take the draw in a limited format ever. Like this is a relic from Magic from 12 years ago when people didn't understand like now there's like mana sinks, like things you can fall behind, planeswalkers. Like what happens if you're just like, you take the draw and your opponent plays Karn?
Yeah.
Which is, we had a Karn in our deck. It was just like Karning people. They're just like, oh, I'll take the draw. Okay, like play a 2-drop, play a 3-drop. They'll play a 3-drop. Okay, Karn, tick it up, your turn. Game's over.
Yeah.
Game's actually over. It happened like 5 rounds out of 9. Just Karn on 4. At least one of the, it's like, well, what are you thinking? Like, you can't take the draw when that can happen, and you just lose on the spot.
Yeah.
You can also just fall behind on pressure. You don't like the extra card. Man, it's like a complicated issue whether you take the draw or not. But like, I'm not convinced the extra card matters that much when there's so many grindy things as well. There's also in this format like the return 2 creatures from your graveyard to your hand.
Yeah, Soul Salvage.
Yeah, that card nuts. Like divination. You know, like it's risky. But anyway, so like all opponents took the draw.
I think there's a format where you actively want divinations in your deck, and they're so much better on the play.
Yes, yeah, they're unplayable on the draw.
Yeah,
like multiple of our opponents cast divination and then just like died. Because that was their turn 3 play. Whereas if they had they were on the play, they can take that turn off.
Yeah.
That's another reason. Like, you know, like if you're willing to take the draw, I think you're saying, okay, my deck is like all just 5-mana 5/5s. And a curve filler until then. And
that or like you were so stretched for playables that you had to play like 6/6/5 or like 7, like something. You had to be pretty heavily into 3 colors to scrap together enough playables, and then you might want to take the draw just because it makes you.
It's the only way your deck
significantly
can win.
more likely to have the colors you need to cast things.
Yeah, so like something went wrong.
Yeah,
like you're taking the draw if something went wrong, I think, right? But like,
you lost the die roll.
But it was crazy. Like everybody gave us the play, and like, we just played the combo. Well, you helped build the deck before you left to play Modern.
Yeah,
we just hit him with the combo of Knight of New Bedalia. The 2-mana 3/1.
Yeah, you had
and
2.
Then Pegasus. We had 2 of those and 2 Pegasus Courser. Just 3 white commons, man, and just attack you for 4 in the air.
Yeah, because there was a Multani in the pool, and
play it.
Yeah, Ben was hype on the Multani, and that card is good, but like the green cards around it, sort of the support cards for this Multani, were like kind of medium. It was like some Llanowar Scouts, and I didn't really like that. And I suggested the black-white deck, and they kind of had it laid out, but I didn't know what they had registered. I had to leave before that. But yeah, the black-white deck, I was like, just play this. Like you have a Benelish Marshal, you have the 4 damage in the air combo. In like you have multiple copies of those cards. Like this just looks so much more consistent and
Pegasus Courser was great. Yeah, we had a siege gang commander in the sideboard that we didn't play.
Yeah, man, I've lost so many times to that Pegasus in this format.
That card
is so good,
insane. It blocks well early, and it's just unbelievable amount of pressure. You know, like that card is phenomenal.
Are you hyped to play against an M19 too?
Yeah,
or with it?
It's a reprint. Yeah,
it's reprinted in M19.
Yep. Along with another white 2-mana 3/1. This time it's the cat, Aresko
Swiftclaw from Theros or whatever.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, giving you the beats. Yeah, no, those like our deck was just 3-drop white commons, and they were all nuts. Like Sergeant at Arms or whatever, the one you can kick and make 2 1/1 soldiers. Card was unreal all day. Actually, probably one of the better cards in our sealed pool though was like we had double Memorial of Folly.
The black one that
the
brings
black return
as a creature.
Gravedigger's creatures. Like again, it's like this is why you don't need to be on the draw. When there's cards like this, like we get ahead on board and then we can use our expensive mana sink card advantage because we're ahead on board. We don't have to spend our time committing. We can attack. Like I'm really not convinced that you want to be on the draw in this format.
I guess it's less.
2 Hall of Famers disagree, so let me be the deciding vote.
I guess it's less so the case in sealed because you're less likely to pull together Sapperling synergy or Wizard synergy. But I drafted Blue-Red Wizards and like it came together. I got a pretty good deck, and that like you can't take the draw in a format where they can wizard you that badly. Like that deck, even if it's on the draw, sometimes it just locks your opponent out and kills them.
You just bounce their guy over and over. Like, what's that blue common called?
Academy Journey Mage.
Yeah, like that card's ridiculous. Like, it's
basically a 4-mana, 3/2 mana war.
Yeah, like it's so much. It's just the amount of advantage that creates on the board is just too much. You can't. Like you said, you cannot take the draw with cards like that in the format. Like, so yeah, especially in draft, but like obviously never
in draft you can't. But that's why I said it's less so in limited. But like that could still happen to you. Even if they don't have a Nuts Wizards deck, if the Academy Journey made you, like, that card's
less
backbreaking.
so unsealed, you mean?
Yeah, less so unsealed, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. But, like, yeah, you can't take that risk. It's a common, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. The more I think about it, I'm like, our opponents were crazy. And we were playing people in, like, you know, that were, like, 7-1. It's like, what are you doing?
Well, this is actually kind of the main point of this limited format that we wanted to illustrate, is that maybe because it followed up Rivals of Ixalan, and also... we had said this in past episodes, and people sort of mirrored this opinion that there are so many seemingly understated legendaries with unique effects that it seems like it's going to be a very synergistic format built around assembling a board state that works together and sort of taking some turns to set up. And so everyone thought it's going to be a grindier format. There's like divinations in it that are playable. It's going to take a while for you get your 2 or 3 pieces, and then you start making 2 saplings a turn and draining them, or they start doing whatever in the air. But it ended up to be that's not the case. The case is that you play legendary creatures in case you have a legendary sorcery. But otherwise, there's just good archetypes that want to curve out and kill you.
Right, like Slimefoot's still a bonkers grindy card.
Yeah, Slimefoot's good, but the Saproling deck just wants to go like Fungal Infection, 2-drop Lord, like 3-drop Saproling guy, like make some tokens and like start attacking you. Like it doesn't want to like sit there and assemble some like make a Saproling drain you every turn.
Yeah, that's way too slow.
That's plan B.
Well, we had an opponent try and do that and they just got crushed. Like it was just too slow. Like you need way too many resources. It's too much going into it.
So the format's not as fancy as it seems, but like if you're drafting this format, my advice for myself and others is draft it normally, but value the legendary keyword highly.
Yeah, you like definitely take risks. Like that's something like Ben and I were arguing about, and like one of our picks was like Joyra or whatever, the 4-mana 3/3. Whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card, and he didn't want to take it. And I was like, I think it's very, very good, and it's worth gambling on. And then I realized later he thought it was a 4-mana 2/2, and that's why he didn't want to take it. And
that too, like as much as I just said, it's not as synergistic as people thought. The synergistic decks are still very powerful. I think that the best deck in this draft format is when Blue-Red Wizards comes together. Yeah. But like the Green-Red Kicker deck and like the Black-Green Saproling deck are like close seconds.
Yeah. Blue-White Historic.
Blue-White Historic is also really good.
Very, very, very good.
And so like if you open Halar, the Firebrand, which is the 3-mana Green-Red sort of payoff card for Kicker, like take it. Because if that deck comes together, it's one of the best things you can be doing. And if you don't play your first pick, whatever.
And also, like, if you end up in that color, it's still a playable card.
Yeah.
Like, it's still fine. Like, it's still going to be good.
So you can gamble on legendaries earlier.
Like, don't think, like, oh, I'm not going to be in the Stork deck, so I shouldn't take this card. It's probably still powerful, and, like, it might pay off. So, yeah, just weigh that. Otherwise, you can definitely just do what Cam said, draft normally.
Yeah, I've seen streamers. I've seen streamers look at a pack. It's like pick 4 or 5 or whatever, and they see a Davenant Trapper. And they're like, oh, this card's not that great. We don't have a lot of historic spells. We can't trigger it that often. But it's still just a 3-mana 3/2. Yeah. That card is playable and limited. If it's a vanilla 3-mana 3/2, that card is good in your white aggressive deck. Take it.
That card,
and then they don't, and they have some card they don't end up playing.
That card was nuts because once in a blue moon it tapped something for us. We played like a short sword and it tapped something. And it was nuts. We were like, this is so good.
Yeah, you only have to trigger it once in your entire draft. It doesn't even have to be per match.
Like a vanilla 3-mana 3/2 is like, meh, it's fine.
Right, but it's playable.
And it has some upside. Playables, like it's like
and you only need minor upside out of it.
But yeah, if you have at all any sort of like value off of it, that's a very good card. But yeah, and people think like, well, I don't know. It's like, no, you will just naturally get historic cards like for just playing, right? Like, I don't know. People definitely are overly neurotic about their ability to enable the historic cards, you know?
Yeah.
The set is actually designed, and I think this is why people love this set so much. The set is actually designed very well so that you can like sort of just draft the archetypes that Cam's talking about and just by virtue of drafting have some cool synergies with historic. Like it's you don't have to overly stress, like you don't have to stress about it. You can just sort of like play towards your archetype and you'll be fine.
It's almost like historic was one of the main themes of the entire set.
Yeah, it's almost like it's just actually pretty good design coming from WotC, which is Actually, I mean, I joke, but like their limited design generally has been great. The Ixalan's set, I don't think we were too like excited about, but it was still fine. Like it wasn't like, oh god, this is awful. Like it was like Ixalan was okay. Rivals was fine. Like it was.
It was one of the worst ones we've seen in the past couple of years.
Yeah, but that's not even saying it's bad because the limited formats in the past like 3 years have been awesome.
Yeah.
They've been so well done and they're so much fun that like Ixalan was just not great, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
You know, we just have such high expectations for WotC for limited. But that's, I guess, our general advice for this limited format, especially with nationals coming up. Like, you know, make sure you brush up, but don't sweat it, I guess. Like, it's our advice. Like, just relax. Like, your draft deck will come together if you just draft towards the archetypes.
What do you think the deepest colors are? Like, if you have a challenging pick one and you just want to hedge on, like, staying in the deepest or, like, potentially most rewarding color, what would you say it is? I think I'm leaning towards white.
I would say white.
Because white just has so many solid commons.
White has
It's got a lot of power at common.
Yeah, white has Lyra.
all our white common. Like we joked at the sealed PTQ that we won or we top 8'd because of white commons. Like we were just laughing. We're like, all these white commons were just busted.
Yeah.
Like the Pegasus.
Yeah.
But yeah, the black commons are good too.
Yeah. I think white black is, if you want to draft normally, that's your safest color pair. You're just going to have good removal, solid commons, good creatures.
Yeah, you just want to pick good. Like if you're going for the deepest color, it's the one with the best commons.
Yeah.
But the best like uncommons are probably in blue or red.
I agree.
So like in Bolus's Clutches is like just comical.
Mm-hmm.
So and it's good, but the problem is it's good in both like blue, white, historic, and because it makes something legendary, and it's also good in blue, red. Like it's. I mean, that card's just good in blue,
Good
whatever.
everywhere, but yeah.
It doesn't matter. That card's insane.
It's good in blue.
But yeah, like I guess if you were in like a black-white deck, just a black-white things, creatures, removal, every pick you make early is going to be like playable. They'll be fine cards.
Yeah.
Where it's like if you're drafting blue-red wizards, there's going to be a string of picks where you're taking 3 mana 2/3s because they're wizards, and you're taking 2 mana 1/3s when you don't have instants or sorceries, like the ones that make mana because they're wizards. And then
you gotta hope that it.
And then in like
out.
pack 2 and 3, because you've been cutting off wizards, like all the Fire Fist Adepts come around and you're fine. But like that's a deck that takes a bit to come together.
And it might not. Like that's the thing. Like your black-white deck is the safe draft deck.
Yes.
Let's say you're in like nationals or a tournament, and you only need to 2-1. You don't need to 3-0 a top 8. Take the black-white deck. You know what I mean? Take the safe.
If it's available to you. Yeah.
If it's available. Well, obviously don't just like force the color, but like take the safe deck. Don't try for like the like all-star wizards deck, because that's also the deck that could 0 you.
Yeah.
You know? You just don't get to play, and you just like your deck's
wizards are
awful.
known to have spells backfire.
Yeah. Exactly. They get fizzled.
Yeah.
Speaking of powerhouses, I didn't realize Juggernaut used to be on the reserve list.
Did it?
Yeah. It was
Really?
taken off in like 2002 because it was in, they opened one in the beta draft.
Oh, I know it was
Yeah.
in beta.
And
It was one of the best cards in beta.
at one point, the reserve list was just like every card before some certain set. It's like all the alpha and beta
Like
cards were
Arabian
on
Nights
it.
or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah. Jeez.
I'm the Juggernaut.
But yeah, they took it off so that we could play with it in Dominaria Limited.
Just what we wanted. I got somewhat, so that the blowout of the week is actually just the various main deck Invoke the Divines so I already mentioned
That was the comment I made. Like as I left, I was yelling like,
make sure you guys
yeah,
play.
that's the other like advice for this format. If you're playing sealed or draft and you have a copy of Artifact or Enchantment Hate, play it.
Yeah.
Because the equipments are good. People playing sagas, like you need to blow them up. Like,
yeah, I mentioned the Invoke the Divine for the Phyrexian Scriptures, right?
Yeah.
On the main board, Invoke the Divine got a few people, but we had 2 more in the sideboard, and we had an opponent who we had a feeling because game 1 they played in Bolus's Clutches and something else, like a few other, and we're like, so we boarded in 3 Invoke or up to 3 Invoke the Divines, and they like tanked for a long time about what they were doing, and then they played Juggernaut, and we're like, oh, they're definitely trying to like bait out because they had mana to play in Bolus's Clutches, and they were like tanking forever, like, they're for sure like trying to bait out this Invoke the Divine on the Juggernaut, like jokes on them. We have 2 in hand, so we just like upkeep, like whatever. And then he like slams the Impulse's Clutches and just like invoke that on upkeep, on our own upkeep, just to like prove a point. Like, let them know, like, no, we had both. Like we didn't draw them. Like, we had both. We knew you. We also knew what you were doing. Just got him good. I'll save the other one for later. Part 3 of my pack 3 of my Invoke the Divine, and we had 3 Invoke the Divines. And our final Invoke the Divine blowout, which was also pretty good.
yeah.
But yeah, cool format. First pick in Bolus's Clutches over basically everything, though, maybe. I don't know. That card was just comical for us, but
Yeah, outside of like some nuts mythics or rares, like
yeah.
Yeah. First pick Lyra always.
your first pick in Teferi and Lyra and Karn.
yeah. First pick Lyra always correct. The black removal spell's insane. The 4-mana one.
Eviscerate?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
I mean,
'Cause there's a lot of, like-
you have that, and you have Settle the Score at the same mana cost.
So on Saturday, we minus Karn and made a 2-2 or a 3-3. We had 2 equipment out. Made a 3-3 off Karn.
Yeah.
After we ticked it up, so it went from 6 to 4, and our opponent could have just served. Could serve everything into Karn and kill it, except we also had Settle the Score, so we got to exile something and tick up our Karn back up to 6, and they didn't get to do any damage to it. Oh, yeah.
It's not often you get that second ability off that card.
You know, like, I'm really glad they put this in the limited format so I could experience exactly what WotC wanted us to experience when it comes to playing this limited format. It just felt like we deserved it. That's pretty funny, man. I bet our opponent was just like, you got to be kidding me.
Get out of here.
Settle score's nuts.
Oh,
And did you have a Karn in your sealed deck and your draft deck?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pack 3 open Karn, then got past a 6th pick Chainwhirler, and we were in blue-red.
What's it like?
Whoa, I mean, we got stuck on 2 lands and died, so terrible. I mean, we won like 100 packs or whatever it is for top 8 the Moto PTQ. You get a ton, actually. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah,
100. That's a lot.
No, I don't know if it was 100. I think it's actually like 60. I don't know.
It's still a lot, man.
Yeah, it was like, it's a ton.
Did you open them all?
Well, it was on Matt's account, but...
Did you open them all?
To be fair, with the 3 of us playing, we actually equaled only 1 brain. Given the state of everything on Friday, we were like missing like we'd tank and be like, wait, like is he? And then finally, like one of us would be like, wait, like we have lethal. If we just do this, would it take us like so long to do it, man? We were just like, everyone was just a drooling idiot. Like we were just sitting here drooling on the
More
keyboard.
than usual.
Yeah, exactly. It was rough. But it's a limited format, a lot of fun. I hadn't played a lot of it, so it was nice to like dust off the old limited gloves and get in there.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed going back and watching the drafts from like the Grand Prix and stuff, even Vegas this past week.
They're super interesting.
Yeah, super interesting. The
Super fun
format's really, really cool. I like it a lot. Let's move on to Pack 3. We're going to talk about Standard, finally. So,
The best format.
the best format.
The one with several cards banned.
Entirely healthy. I love Standard right now.
Me too.
So we're going to talk about a lot of people have been on the team ban Goblin Chainwhirler recently.
Ban the Whirly Boys.
there have been a lot of people who think it's okay to think that.
So
would you like to elaborate?
I don't think you should ban Chainwhirler.
Why?
Neither do I.
So, okay. The fact, like, calling to ban Chainwhirler, I think, is sort of a microcosm of a mistake that Magic players make a lot, which is misidentifying which cards or effects or patterns are actually holding sway over, like, a game of Magic or a format or something. And it's not so much confirmation bias as it's kind of just like they get distracted by a straw man. Chainwhirler is the newest addition to these red decks. It's the thing which has sort of an obvious effect on the format. You can point at a deck list and be like, look, those glint sleeves, those are in their sideboard. That's because of Chainwhirler, so ban it. But like, this is a point that Adam brought up. Say you take Chainwhirler out of these decks and people put their glint sleeves back in their main deck. They would likely still win and lose the same amount against red.
Or close.
Or close.
Close enough. I think red decks are just busted in general. Like, that's the...
Yeah. Like, Chainwhirler has this obvious effect that you can point at and be like, oh, I don't like that. But you're still going to lose to red. Red is still offensively powerful. It still has the best cards in the format.
On every spot of the curve. Like,
Yeah.
And so there was an article posted today where someone was calling for a Chainwhirler ban and explaining why they thought...
It was like last week.
It was okay. I saw it today, so it was posted today.
That's my world.
Yeah. And they said that waiting for rotation won't help because Chainwhirler will still do what it does post-rotation once these other powerful red cards leave. But I don't think Chainwhirler will see play if there isn't a deck, if there isn't a red shell that's strong enough to support building a mana base to cast a triple red spell. Like, that's not an irrelevant cost. It is irrelevant, though, if it comes along with Hazoret and Chandra and Phoenix for free.
Right, if it comes with the best one drops.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
If every
If it
card
comes with
you
the
want
best two
that
drop.
does everything you need is already mono red, then it's not a cost. But
Right.
once those things rotate, then it will be a cost.
That's not a deck building cost right now. Like, people, I've seen that in comments. People are like, oh, but there's a huge deck building cost of playing Chainwhirler. What?
There isn't.
That you get to play
not
the
now.
best 4-drop. You have a plethora of the most busted 4-drops like to choose from.
The real deck
You
building
can play
cost is playing
Phoenix,
Scrounger.
Hazoret, Chandra. Like, well, yeah. You have the best 2-drops. Imagine, like, possible one that's top aided. Like, what? Remember the stats? Like,
Yeah.
Scrounger's like in a list of 5 or 6 cards that's top aided multiple Pro Tour top 8s with like high amount of copies, and the other ones are like Mishra's Workshop, Wasteland,
Yeah.
Grim Monolith. You know what I mean? It's like Scrounger. Like, so yeah, are
Scrubber's
you really
so good.
Are you really playing deck building options when you get to, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Bowman Courier busted versus Control, Soulscar Mage insane versus the Snake decks. Like,
Yeah, Chainwhirler is not the thing that's warping those mana's decks. It's Unlicensed and Scrap Heap, which are the deck builders. Those are the mana base cost cards.
it's Hazoret, like it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those, like Chandra, like
It
those cards were already so offensive, and they got nerfed a little because, like, hey, people can play Liliana now, Death's Majesty.
Yeah.
People are allowed to play that card.
Yeah.
Chandra made it so you literally could not play that card in Standard for like a year and a half that it was legal. You just couldn't play that card.
Yeah. Very true.
Wait, you gonna minus? Get back your dumb idiot creature, and then they just plus Chandra and kill your Planeswalker. Thanks for coming out. Like,
Yeah.
this is miserable. I'm rattled. I
That's
hate
great. What do you mean?
I hate Chandra. I can't wait till it leaves. I mean, Teferi's the same problem. It's what we were talking about on the podcast. Like, it's your card advantage, your mana advantage, your answer to permanence.
Yeah. It's everything
win
all
condition.
wrapped up into one.
Right. Like, Chandra
Yeah.
produces mana, Teferi produces mana. They both are your card advantage. They both kill things. They both are your win condition. Like, that should not be. Yeah, they gotta stop making Planeswalkers. Just stop, man.
They got to stop making. Well, I mean, I don't want to say they have to stop making really good ones, but they seem to have figured that out. Have you seen any of the new ones they're printing?
I think that those could be like role players though, and that's fine.
yeah. No, they're fine as role players, but these one like
they're not standalone.
Yeah, like Chandra and Teferi are so like you said that's right. They're standalone.
You just build the deck around them,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's the issue. You just build the deck around these cards because they're so busted, and it doesn't like.
And it's the same thing with Gideon. It was standalone.
Mhm.
Did everything. Protected itself, made creatures, and attacked you for 5.
Yeah, was your win condition, card advantage,
Yeah.
right? Like
Like
it wasn't. Yeah. So yeah, that's an issue, and like obviously Chainwhirler is a problem, and like. I know like Frank Carson was saying like he thinks it should be banned as well. Well, his other solution was actually just to, for the last 3 months before rotation, unban everything in Standard, which I think is sweet.
that
would
would
be
be
fun.
great.
Right?
Do it.
That
Do
would
it.
be like awesome. I'm totally on board with that. I think they should just, for the last 3 months, be like, well, instead of banning Chainwhirler and screwing everyone over, like everything's legal. Get
Dude,
it.
they could make it so flavorful too. Like for Magic's 25th anniversary, we harken back to our roots when we also didn't know how to design formats.
You guys just get after it. Like just play whatever, like play all this gun degenerate garbage that we put out there. Like, yeah, no, I think it'd be fine. I think actually, I mean, apart from Copter, because Copter's the real criminal, right? Like, apart from Copter,
But Copter was banned in a world where we don't have as many answers for it as we do now.
right? You could have braid Copter now. Like, you can
push it.
push
Good fatal
Copter,
push, yeah.
right? Like,
That
would
was the big thing when Copter got banned. People were like, why are you banning it now? You just spoiled push. Like,
right. Like, would anything be that bad? Maybe
I don't
Emrakul.
that's a Healy combo is going to be
Emrakul's
annoying.
Oh
not-
yeah,
but
Sealy combo obnoxious.
Emrakul rotated.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Rotated. My bad.
The only
Sealy combo.
the only
is
obnoxious things that come back are Copter, Sahili combo, and Marvel with nothing to marvel into.
Right. You can't marvel into anything. I think you actually.
Zakama. Can Marvel into Zakama.
Yeah, the white dragon.
No,
Or
the
Dino?
The Naya
9
Dino.
mana Naya Dino.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty funny. See, they just let him do that. That's funny.
I think it'd
You
be
can
hilarious.
contempt that thing.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, no biggie.
For sure.
I think that you could unban everything in Standard right now.
Oh.
Because like, what's Ferocidon? Like, no one's gonna play it.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Because
They're
Chainwhirler's
keep
just
playing
better.
Chainwhirler.
I'd like to see it just to see what happens.
But I don't think they ban Chainwhirler because I don't think they can. How bad, dude? How bad is it if there's another Standard ban?
I mean, it's already been so bad that, yeah. Honestly, like I
won't even put
I
on-
don't even. People are just overreacting.
I agree.
They've gotten in this mindset where something looks good, and now oh shit, it's it's so bad for the format. It's warping everything. Like this card needs to be banned. Like it's not though.
And people were saying like, oh, we gave the format time to adapt to it, and it hasn't. People are still playing red black. Like clearly, it just can't be beat. But like,
No, there are no Standard tournaments. There are no SCG standards because Standard was so bad for a year
and like
that
blue white control was so Chainwhirler is bad against decks that don't have creatures, where the ping doesn't matter, and it's just a 3/3 for 3. And the first strike's irrelevant if they're not playing creatures. And so like blue white control proved itself not as strong as people thought. But now there haven't been enough events since those 2 Esper decks did well. Esper probably dunks on Chainwhirler decks, like if tuned correctly. We just haven't had a chance to let it show itself. So
right, because SCG stopped there are no standard events for the upcoming season booked for
Oh, yeah.
SCG.
They're all,
None.
yeah.
None. 0. The only thing is team events. There are standard in the team section of team events, but all the like full coverage, there's no single standard. It's
And
all modern.
The invitational is modern standard right at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no standalone standard event. Like I think Wizards are like, the GPs for WotC are like similar. There's a few because they have to,
Yeah.
but like the format, it doesn't get the coverage, and of course there's no incentive for anyone to develop anything different or show up with anything different. I'm not convinced that Chainwhirlers are just as dominant right now as people think they are.
If you follow Moto deck lists at all, like the last deck dump, there was like 2 Chainwhirler decks.
Yeah, and then just like look at the slow march and rise of blue-black midrange.
Yeah,
right.
It's still doing well. Lots of Esper decks too.
Keeps growing in numbers. Chainwhirler decks are losing percentages of the meta every deck dump. Every single deck dump. It used to be like, they used to have like 40-50% of the meta. Now it's like 20.
Yeah.
They're declining rapidly.
That's crazy though, because like you just can't beat Chamberlain, and no one's adapting to it. So this must just be luck.
The blue-black midrange deck that is literally gaining in popularity by the week plays the cards that they list Chainwhirler kicks out of the format.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which are Glint Sleeve and Champion Wits. Because you know what? Champion doesn't care about getting Chainwhirler.
It's not a creature, it's a spell.
It's a 3-mana loot, and then the backside is a creature that Chainwhirler doesn't do anything to, and so like that's not an issue. People just vastly underestimate what cards do. It's like people telling me I was crazy for playing tokens, right? It's like, well, you kill my Legion's Landing guy, okay, once, and then I flip my Legion's Landing. What happens? You lose like to these 1/1 lifelinkers because I make a 1/1 every single turn. You don't make a Chainwhirler every turn.
Yeah.
So people just calling for a ban is insane to me. I think we're all in agreement about this.
It's this like unfortunate chicken egg scenario with standard GPs, in that like standard looks bad and people are less invested in it because of past bannings. So there's less events. So there's less time for standard to fix itself. Obviously, like there's less exposure of people reacting to these things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So standard looks worse. So there's less events. So people are less interested.
And then they're more and more nervous about booking a bunch of standard events, and then people complain and they don't want to watch because like, I don't want to watch a bunch of Chainwhirler mirrors. You know, like it's
yeah, you wouldn't be watching a lot of Chainwhirler mirrors if this was the second GP in 2 weeks and not the first in 3 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like obviously Chainwhirler's nuts. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's a very, very good card.
We've been talking about forever that it's grotesquely good. Like,
but it's not as horrible as people seem to be making it out to be.
You can play almost any deck as long as it's not green.
Yeah, how come no one's? Where's the outrage over like I can't play green decks in standard? Why is everyone calling for a ban of Chainwhirler?
Right.
And they aren't outraged that every green card is underpowered.
Yeah, that's the real issue. Like green is.
What do you mean? It has a 2-mana 12/12.
It's pretty good.
3-mana 5/4, man.
That is pretty good too.
How are these cards underpowered?
Because they just attack and
they're printing a 5-mana 10/10.
It's because when you use, here's the difference. When you use removal spell on green creatures, they stay dead.
Yeah.
When you use removal spells on any other creatures or decks right now, they come back.
Yeah.
Every deck is a zombie deck with like resurrections, except green decks. Like every deck has like the blue-black deck Scarab God. They come back.
Yeah.
You know, Scrap Heap Scrounger comes back. Phoenix comes back. You can't kill Hazard. Like,
yeah.
You know, what's the green deck got?
Dude, it shouldn't be called black red vehicles.
They get fumigated. They're like, oh crap, I lose.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, but the offensive, like, the problem with standard right now is that all the best cards are red or colorless.
Oh yeah, that is a problem.
Literally,
and
the problem right now
Immortal.
still is Kaladesh block. Once that set is gone, like, who knows? It'll probably be so
what
much
does standard
better.
even look like? There's no
Like-
fatal push. There's no like a braid, like harness. It's
No,
crazy.
Braid's in our Visitation.
Those rotate.
No.
Yeah.
What?
I'm gonna get an hour rotate with Kaladesh.
Yep.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Get out of here.
Yes.
The
Bullshit.
Scarab God's leaving.
No,
Scarab
it's
God
not.
leaves.
Yes, it is.
Get out
when
of
they
here.
went back to the when
They went back to
the
the old.
yeah, the old scale.
We've
Guys-
discussed this live on the podcast
Yeah.
before.
And didn't we prove you wrong?
No.
Nope.
Oh, man.
Just go to what is the website? Whatisinstandard.com. I think that's what it is. But
But
I'm
I
gonna
feel
look
like
it up right now, live on air.
regardless of this,
What's in standard?
yeah, see, it's the website. What's in standard?
Okay. Holy shit, you're right.
yeah.
Yeah. as usual. But like, yeah, no, like Standard's going to be, if they just wait, it'll be fine. And you're right, it's not Chainwhirler, it's Kaladesh. Kaladesh is so incredibly offensive as a block.
And a few cards from Amonkhet, yeah.
And a few from Amonkhet.
Man, I need to sell all my Standard cards soon.
Holy. Like, you best believe it's time for like dinos to take over now, you know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah, we got rotation coming in September.
Death Gorge Scavenger, little mini Titan, man, he's going to give it to people. Green is coming back, baby.
I feel like I'm still going to have PTSD though. Like after rotation, my opponent's going to play some red creature. I'm going to kill it, and then the next turn, I'm just going to like mark 3 off my life total, and they'll be like, I didn't attack you. Like my guy's dead. I'll be like, I'm not used to this.
Yeah. Like, like Stelly's right. Like the offensive set here is like the Kaladesh block was so bad for Standard. Look at the ban list. Look at the ban list.
It's 6 cards from 5 cards.
5 cards.
From Kaladesh block.
Yeah.
And then a Raminap Runes and a Rampaging Froston.
Which are red cards.
Yeah.
Like,
man,
it's not a good look, man.
So you're telling me on October 5th, we're only going to have Ixalan block, Dominaria, Corset, and then Guilds of Ravnica?
Yep.
Man, that's going to suck.
No, it's going to be awesome.
No, it's going to be great.
Because now creatures aren't immortal.
What do you mean? I'm still going to play 4 Phoenix.
No, that isn't it. That card's going to be wild.
Everyone...
That card, yeah.
Yeah, but Contempt's still around. Everyone's deck is going to get powered down. Everyone gets to like not immediately lose to a single card.
That doesn't sound like any fun, man.
See, I don't mind that 1 or 2 threats are like immortal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
My problem is when like you can play a deck with 4 Vraska's Contempt and run out. You cast all 4 and then you die to a Phoenix anyway because they also had Hazard and Chandra. And you just, you know what I mean? They're playing 10 4-drops that are demand Vraska's Contempts or you lose. And that's something I think is just so incredibly offensive about the way the format is currently built. And I don't think Chainwhirler is the hugest part of that. Like, I don't think like it's complicated, but it's like when Cam was saying like, oh, you know, like if you let these X1s in the format, like red would still win. It's like, yeah, like what X1s are being pushed out that we can't play? Everyone still plays Land of War Elves. The green decks still get smashed. They can't win. Yeah. They can't beat control decks. Yeah. Those control decks don't lose anything from Chainwhirler. Just get better. Like what X1s return to the format that matter?
That would beat red, yeah.
That would beat, like, you know what I mean? They don't matter. Banning Chainwhirler doesn't do anything.
I don't know what to tell you guys. Don't know what to say.
I'm just rhetorically using you as if you're like...
How could you be so ridiculous, Stella?
Yeah, this is all your fault for raising this issue. I hate you.
This pack 3 sucks.
Yeah. Man, there's not a single playable in here.
No, there's too many. I gotta pass them all.
Can I just open my pack and drop from the event?
I don't want to play anymore.
You know, like take all these cards, they're all too good. Pack 3.
Man, I can't believe all these sets are rotating so soon.
What do you mean so soon?
I haven't got to
We've been so miserable
enough
for so
people,
long.
guys.
You've been hazarding people for so long.
I haven't got enough time.
You can do it in Modern.
Yeah, I guess.
Put some in your Mardu Pyromancer sideboard.
Dude, it was in that vintage deck. We didn't have a pack 4 to talk about vintage, but did you not see the vintage deck?
No.
That Ryan linked? It was like Hazaret. Dude, it's crazy. It's like a vintage deck with a bunch of Hazaret.
It was Hazaret.
Yeah, because you have like Moxes to dump your head super fast, so you can just Hazaret them.
It was like Mox Ruby, Mox Diamond, like Lotus Petal, and then
it was like Chalice of the Void, like just random.
Chalice of like your vintage
Blood
cards.
Moon. Like it was like a red prison deck with Hazards.
Blood Moons, Magus of the Moon, and then like the 2-drop that pings or the shocks when they cast spells.
Yeah.
The Reveler. No.
Eidolon
of the Great Revel.
Man,
and
sign me up.
It was just like a vintage burn deck with some Hazarets.
You just have to own Moxes, and you too can take your standard deck and turn it into a vintage deck. Okay.
All I need are Moxes.
Bonus pack 4. We should have a competition who can take the best standard deck and put Moxes in it and see who would win. we should have an ad Mox tournament. That's what we need to have. It's like my deck would be better if it had all 5 or like the 5 Mox in it.
Yeah.
Or just the Power 9 deck. That's what we should do is like have a Power 9 competition. You have to take a standard deck.
A 51 card standard.
Yeah, 51 card standard, and you add the Power 9 to it. Like whoever wins, like, but you don't have to add all Power 9 if you don't want to, but like.
But like, why wouldn't you?
Maybe you're not playing blue.
Well, what's
You telling me I'm not going to play Time Walk?
Yeah, I'm playing Ancestral Recall. Come on.
That burn deck wasn't playing it.
Well, why? You can draw 3 more burn spells.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you Time Walk and you get to make sure you cast them all.
No, but it's three more spells. Then you can't attack with your Hazaret.
Oh yeah,
Yes, it's a non-bow.
Oh, that is a non-bow. Oh,
Unless
see?
those were
the
three-
51 card plus vintage standard competition's actually good.
It's deep
Unless
format.
those 3 spells you drew all cost 0, then you're fine.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's an interesting idea.
So
Guys,
standard's actually secretly great.
Crazy
Don't worry
thought.
about banning Chainwhirler. You can play whatever. I played tokens. I went undefeated in RPTQ
Yeah.
with it, and you can too. And all my Chainwhirler opponents just cried and cried as they got smashed.
Yeah, because it's like what I was saying. They just misidentified what was important in that matchup.
Correct, because in testing, playing against control, our friend Matt finally realized that the only card that actually mattered in the control matchup versus tokens was Hidden Stockpile.
Mm-hmm.
So he just did everything in his power to get rid of it or counter it or like commit to memory it because literally nothing else matters against them. Like just making a bunch of 1/1s is how they lose.
Yeah. So we'll pass this question off to everyone listening. Do you guys think we're wrong? Are we idiots? No, we're not. You are.
If you think
if you think Chainwhirler should be banned, shoot us a message. Tell us why. We'll tell you why you're wrong. Can't wait to hear from you. Thank you all for joining the club this week.
Oh wait, I have my part 3 blow, my third Invoke the Divine.
And we're moving on to this blowout right now.
So we got the Phyrexian Scriptures one, we got the Bolus's Clutches, but I got another good one for you. So
It was also with Bull's clutches.
yeah, our opponent plays. So we have a Benelish Marshal in play, and otherwise it would be an even board in that like they have a 2/2, we have a 2/2, they have a 3/3, we have a 3/3, but we have a Benelish Marshal, so we're just kind of like chunking them, right?
Yeah.
And we play like another creature, and we put them to 3, and then they cast in Bolus's Clutches on our Benelish Marshal. So now all their creatures line up one more than us, but we have a creature that could like suicide attack in for 2.
Okay.
So we're like, well, we'll maybe think like. We'll see what he thinks and like just click right attack all, right? Because the Benelish Marshal's tapped from attacking, obviously. And so we serve and they line up all their blocks like as if they're one ahead and like we just invoke the Divine, the Bolus's Clutches. So they're just like
All their creatures get smaller, all their series get bigger.
just,
And
just eat
like,
their entire
they're-
board.
and they had their plan to survive was they had the birds that have like 1/1 first strike birds.
Yeah.
So they
Oh,
would have
okay.
pumped and like been able to just first
Eat
strike
something.
down our
Yeah.
board. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Pretty good. So our there's 3 different blowouts from our 3 Invoke the Divines across our draft deck. Or our sealed deck. Pretty good.
yeah.
It's,
Play that card main deck, guys.
yeah. If you're playing sealed and you can play that card, you should play 1 in your board.
Or a Broken Bond or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
All right. Thank you all for joining the club this week. As always, make sure you check out wizardtower.com for all your Magic Signal needs, mtgcanada.com. Lots of great content, other great podcasts like the Commander's Brew. You can find articles, puzzles, anything, everything in your wizard life that you need. You can find wizardtower.com.
Yeah.
Great sponsors of this podcast. And if you want to get in contact with us, you can find us on Twitter at DWC Podcast 1 or on Facebook, the Disorganized Wizard Club Podcast. Lots of people message us for deck lists. We're happy to give out deck lists we talk about on the format. If you disagree with anything you say or there's something you want us to talk about on the show, shoot us a message. We're always happy. We respond real fast.
Facebook tells us we do.
Yeah. Facebook says we're great.
Good job, team.
And however you listen to this podcast, whether it's on Podbean, iTunes, your podcast app, anywhere else you may find us, leave us a review, rate the podcast, share it with your friends. Everything helps this thing keep growing and bring these 3 guys to new ears.
A lot of 3s.
Yeah.
See ya.
We'll
Enjoy
check
the
y'all
rest of
next
your
week.
evening.